now, Lisa Jewell will be talking to Susanne Bjergtrup about Og så var hun væk.
It's not working, is it?
Yes, I would like to welcome you, Lisa Jewell, here to Horsens and Denmark, where your second novel in Danish has just arrived for the book market. In English, it's called And Then She Was Gone, and in Danish, it's called Og så var hun væk. So that is the book that we're primarily going to talk about, but of course, I'm also a little bit curious about who is this woman sitting next to me.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that people here are also curious about that. But let's start with the fact that you write psychological suspense. You've been a writer for 22 years almost now?
Yes, I started writing my first novel in 1997, so yes.
Yeah, and you started out with romantic fiction?
Yes, I did.
But now you write thrillers.
Yes.
So what's so great about writing thrillers?
Well, it sounds an easy thing to say, but I did always want to write thrillers, even when I started writing my first novel when I was 26, and I'd just fallen madly in love. I just got out of a bad relationship, and I was madly in love, and I was just really enjoying being young and having an active social life, but I really wanted to write a novel, and I had intended to sit down and write a very dark novel about my first marriage, which was a very dark marriage. But my headspace was all wrong for it because I was enjoying life so much, so I invented these characters who were going to do dark things, and they ended up just all falling in love with each other, and oops, yeah. And then that book was my first novel, and it was a huge success in the UK. So therefore, people associated me with writing romantic comedies. And then my publishers paid me to write romantic comedies. So for years and years and years, I was writing romantic comedies. And then about 8 books in, I started writing about darker things. I moved away from the comedies. And then about 7 books back, I got a new editor, and she was a crime editor, and I think she and I held hands and guided each other slowly towards me killing people. Yes, exactly. So I always wanted to write thrillers, and I've always loved reading really dark fiction and reading real-life murder books and things like that. But it took a long time for me to be in the right headspace and have the right editor and feel brave enough to move my readers along with me as well, because obviously I was very scared that I might lose readers.
Because they were used to you writing a special kind of
or feel-good,
fiction.
as you call it in Scandinavia, the feel-good genre, yes. And suddenly I'm making people feel uncomfortable. But I have been really lucky that my readers have stayed with me.
Yeah. So with this novel, And Then She Was Gone, you have a woman who's called Laurel Mack.
Yeah.
She has lost her daughter. Her daughter disappeared like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And she's the kind of person to whom the glass is always half empty.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
so why do you write about a character like Laurel? What's
it was absolutely not deliberate. I knew that I would have a grieving mother. I knew that she would be in her 50s because of the age of her daughter when her daughter went missing, and how long her daughter had been missing for. And I had no idea what type of person she was going to be until I started writing about her. And then I just found it interesting, rather than writing about someone who was joyful and appreciating every moment of life until the bad thing happened to her, it seemed more interesting to write about someone who'd been expecting something bad to happen all their lives.
Yeah, she's really like a little bit gloomy all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
But even when her life was perfect, she was gloomy and looked on the dark side of things. Yeah. So it just seemed a more interesting character to write about.
Yeah. But the moment we meet her, her life is just about to change in a very profound direction.
Yeah.
She's meeting somebody called Floyd. Who's Floyd, and what kind of man is he?
So Floyd is a mysterious man that she meets in a cake shop, who offers to share a slice of cake with her.
The place to meet mysterious men.
And she meets him about a week after she's finally got a little bit of closure about her missing daughter. So it's finally a point in her life where she thinks she might be ready to move on. And then suddenly this man appears and sweeps her off her feet, which she thinks is a coincidence. But I'm not going to say any more because it would be a spoiler if I said any more. But yes, so he's a mathematician. He's very charismatic. He's American. And he makes her feel like maybe her life isn't over and maybe there is some joy still to be had in life. Until on their second date after dinner, he takes her back to his house and introduces Laurel to his 9-year-old daughter, who is a spitting image of Laurel's missing daughter, who disappeared 10 years before. And because this is the first time in so long that she's felt any joy or happiness, she's kind of trying really hard not to question this too much. But as the story goes on, the questions become more and more insistent. Yeah.
How do you write all the twists and turns of the story? Because it's like you have different points of view, different voices throughout the novel.
Yeah, I mean, because it takes 9 months to a year to write a book, and it takes a whole day to write half a chapter. So you're obviously writing at a very different pace to how the reader is reading. Well, hopefully. I hope it doesn't take a reader 9 months to read my book. So you're constantly looking for ways of enjoying the writing more, as well as moving the story on, and sometimes doing something. And it's quite unusual in that one of the points of view comes up 2/3 of the way through the book. You've not heard from this character before, and they're suddenly there in the first person, talking directly to the reader 2/3 of the way through the book, and it's quite shocking.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, where did you come from? But from a writer's point of view, it was just one of those moments where I just thought, okay, I think the momentum here with the way I've been structuring this book has gone as far as it can, and it needs something else. So sometimes you just feel that you've got to switch the pace or change the perspective, and I never plan these things. They just
No, it sounds
happen.
like you're not really
I'm not
having
a
a big...
Oh, do you think?
yeah, the way you talk about it.
I thought you meant when you were reading my book,
No.
you were thinking, what an unorganised book.
No,
No,
I mean,
I'm not.
when you talk about it, it sounds like, okay, it's coming
I'm not.
up.
I have no clue how it's all going to hang together or how it's all going to turn out.
No.
And quite often I've written books where I didn't even know who the killer was until I'm writing the last few chapters.
Okay.
I just decide at the end. So yeah, I'm not a very
So
good
it can
planner.
be exciting for you.
It is
all
exciting,
all the way
but sometimes
through.
really,
also.
really terrifying. Yeah.
Suddenly you like the person all the way
Exactly.
through.
That's
and then
exactly
suddenly,
right,
oh,
yes.
this is not a nice person anyway.
Exactly. Yes.
So, the daughter who disappears, Ellie.
Yes.
Somehow she is the wrong daughter to disappear.
Oh, don't.
I think that's
You're trying to
one
make
of
me
the
feel
most
bad,
heartbreaking things about this book,
Yes.
particular book.
Yes,
It's,
and I've had readers get really upset about the fact that I've approached this idea of a parent having a favourite child or a favoured child. I have 2 children, and my favourite changes every 5 minutes. It depends which one is being nice to me. They're my favourite.
They should know.
Yeah. But in the case of Laurel, she's got a son and 2 daughters, and Ellie is the youngest daughter. And because Laurel is such a dark, pessimistic person, and she's brought this person into being, her baby girl, who is a ray of sunshine. And I think she needs, her other 2 children are a bit ponderous like her. They're slightly darker like her. And so Ellie becomes a person that she relies on to give her life some sort of, golden light. So to say that it's never said in the book that Ellie is her favourite. She never says Ellie is her favourite. No. But she is a child whose company she enjoys the most. It's a subtle difference, but it's
I think I got a clear idea that she was a favourite.
Yeah.
So
which makes it really, really difficult for her in the aftermath of Ellie disappearing, that she's left with these 2 children who she doesn't feel she's got such a good rapport with, whose company she doesn't enjoy in the same way, who don't bring her the same levels of golden light. She's a golden girl, and the light's gone from her life.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, people find that very uncomfortable, the idea of a
How
parent.
did you come up with it?
It was organic. I didn't plan it.
No?
It's just as I was writing about this family, it became more and more obvious that Ellie was different and that her relationship with Ellie was different to her relationship with her other two children. It just, yeah. So I never questioned whether it was morally wrong. I just thought this is Laurel and this is how she feels about her baby girl.
Yeah.
And I can't do anything about it because that's
No.
just how it is.
Okay. But do you have the subject of the book that you then develop organically, or do you just
Yes.
start writing and see what
Yeah,
happens?
I have a germ of an idea, and then quite often I'll be thinking about that germ of an idea for quite some time and realise that that's not going to sustain a whole novel, and then I have to bring in another something else.
Yeah.
So the whole thing starts, building layers. And yes, so and I think about it for as long as I can until my brain hasn't got the capacity to hold it in there anymore, and then I start writing.
Okay.
And I don't plan anything. The only way I can possibly know what the book is going to be about is by writing it down.
Yeah.
I can't make rough notes or even begin to imagine what's going to happen in chapter 15 before I've written chapters 1 to 14. Then I'll know. So yeah, very disorganized, chaotic writer.
Okay, but I researched a little bit on you before this interview, and it seems like you're very good at writing every day. So even though you describe yourself as very chaotic, you're actually sitting down and you publish one book every year.
Yes.
Almost.
Yes, and it's always a terrible, hair-raising experience for me every single year. Every single year, about sort of the middle of October, I'm suddenly living my entire life on adrenaline and panic attacks and thinking, why didn't I plan this? What am I doing? And so the same cycle happens every year and I never learn. Or what I do learn is that that's how I write. And I just have to
so
live with
you
it.
will get through it.
Yes.
By Christmas it'll be
By
over.
Christmas it'll be gone, yes.
Yeah. Okay. I was thinking now one of the subjects of the book is this favorite child. Do you have a favorite book among your books?
Yes, I do. And because I've had 3 sort of stages of my writing career, the romantic comedies and then the slightly more grown-up novels in the middle and then the psychological thrillers coming up towards the end, I've got a favourite in each. So my favourite of my romantic comedies is called Vince and Joy, which was a bit like One Day, that sort of idea of meeting someone as a teenager and kind of meeting up over the years and missing your chance for true love. And then out of the more grown-up books from the middle is a book called The House We Grew Up In, which is about a family affected by their mother's obsessive hoarding disorder, which probably doesn't exist in Denmark because you're...
Hoarding disorders?
Yeah, because you're
the book.
organised and have good storage.
I think I know a few hoarders.
And then from the thrillers, actually not this one.
But
Not
it's
this
still
one.
good.
Yeah, but I'm not saying it's not good, but it's not my personal favourite.
Okay,
It's not
which
my
one
personal
is your
favourite.
personal
I
favourite?
think it's a really good question. I think I Found You, the one that came
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably my favourite so far.
Okay. So you changed the genre sometimes. Can you imagine yourself changing the genre once more?
No.
No. Now you found it. Now you're just about
Well, I
to-
look at all the other genres and there's nothing there that, I'm not very good at research, so I couldn't do historical. And you can't sort of go back and start doing romantic comedies again, can you? That's a strange direction to head in.
Well, maybe as everyone grows older, the kind of romantic novels could be different.
Maybe. No, I think it's really good for you. I'm at that stage in my life when I need to look after my brain and keep it working before before it calcifies and stops working. And writing thrillers is a really, really good way of keeping your brain going. So I think I'll just stick with it until I'm too old to write anymore.
So what are you writing now?
I've just finished one. So there's another book that already came out in the UK last summer called Watching You, which is a murder mystery. It's a little bit Agatha Christie. And then I just finished my 17th novel, which is called The Family Upstairs, which is a slightly gothic, twisted book about a huge house in Chelsea and the dark secrets of something that happened there 20 years earlier and blah, blah, blah. So I'm in that lovely bit that writers know about when you finally put the book to bed and you get a little moment to breathe and just hoover under the sofa and get on with the odd jobs.
Yeah. And very, very soon you will be do some more practical work because you will be signing books.
Yes, I'll be signing books on the
book and idea. And that's this way.
Yeah. Oh, it's that way. I'm going to sign books that way. There we go.
The editor says it's this way. So, Lisa Jewell, I will say thank you very much for this conversation, and I hope that you will write a lot of more books.
Thank you very much. So do I.